Hackathon workshop. Had some great speakers. Thank you all who are over there joining us. We really appreciate you all coming out here today. We've got a great lineup of speakers for you. I'm going to kick us off here with just a little bit of a welcome, and then we'll be rolling right through this as we go. So bear with me as we get started here. We are operating under the Scale 22 Code of Conduct. Please visit there and conduct yourselves accordingly. Thank you. Thank you so much to Scale for hosting us and allowing us to participate with you all today. We really appreciate the Scale community, the people, the ethos, all of it is highly congruent with Kwai's mission and focus in personal AI. Huge thank you to Elon Rabinovich. Huge thank you to dall-e, who've really helped us get this thing together. And thank you all for coming out and being participants in it. We will be at Expo Booth 112 through the rest of the week. Please come and visit us, talk to us. There will not be a lot of time for kind of audience Q&A, but we'll have a lot of the speakers through that you're going to see today out there in the booth. We're going to be doing a book signing out there. Richard Witt's in the audience. He's got a book to sign for you. He'll be speaking today in AI policy. So please come visit us in the booth later this week. Thank you to the city of Pasadena. Thank you to the city of Los Angeles. We know you've all been through a lot here, and we're just really appreciative that you're opening your space back up to us in some of these trying times. Really appreciate everybody's thoughtfulness as you're here in this community this week. Thank you to our sponsors. We've got Mimic, title sponsor of the Hackathon project. You can hack on Mimic's edge computing technology here through the Hackathon. They've been a very gracious sponsor. Thank you. You're going to hear, we heard from Michelle Berger this morning in the Hackathon keynotes. You're going to hear from Fayez Amandi here today as well as part of the keynote sessions. Thank you to Personal AI, namesake for Personal AI. Thank you to Cryptid Technologies, also a sponsor of the Hackathon. Chasm Workspaces, we've heard from some great speakers this morning from these companies over in the Hackathon workshops. Thank you to Balance AI, and thank you to Intel, who is also a sponsor of our Hackathon. And to Symposium sponsors, the Gleanet Alliance, thank you very much. Richard Witt and his organization. Companion Intelligence, we'll hear from Lee Ambrosia today, as well as Colabera, who is sponsoring the party afterwards. So more on that in a minute. Thank you very much to our sponsors. And thank you to all of our speakers. So you'll hear some great keynotes today. You'll hear some great tech talks, some great research talks, some great policy talks. And again, we've already kicked this off. So the folks down there at the bottom, Michelle, Caitlin, David, and James were all speaking at our Hackathon workshop earlier. Thank you all especially for already doing your duties. Appreciate it. What to expect today? We're going to go through an agenda with keynotes, tech talks, research talks, and policy talks. If you want to see the specific agenda, please go to kwaai.ai/summit 2025. There's all the agenda there by time. There'll be tech talks and there'll be panels. These are moderated panels where you'll get to hear a little bit more color from some of the speakers here throughout each section as we go. And I'm going to start at the end. You're all invited to the after party. We love the after parties at Kwaai. Come on over to the Hotel Dina, straight across the promenade over there, that way. Look for the Kwaai sign. And here's some pictures from last year. Some great turnout. We are going to be graced as well with a welcome talk from Nick Arnzen, from the Altadena Town Council. So thank you so much to Nick for being here as well. Thank you for sharing his experiences with our city. This is really important because our entire hackathon event was really focused on AI and emergency response and incident management. So you're going to hear some more of that from John Connors a little bit later today. The benefit of going first in any of these events is that I get to operationalize all the variables. So before any of the other speakers go, I'm going to talk a little bit about here just the word intelligence. Intelligence isn't necessarily one thing. If you were a mathematician, it'd be pattern recognition with abstract concepts. As a computer scientist, it's the algorithmic ability to perform human-like tasks. But different disciplines have lots of different definitions of what intelligence is. And this is a key point to remember as we're developing artificial intelligence. And that last point there, philosophy, ethical and metaphysical inquiry into the mind. This is where a lot of your doctorates are. Your doctorates are in philosophy. And so, don't forget that these are the real questions here that we're all thinking about as we develop technologies in this space. And so artificial intelligence, how does that get defined? Well, simply put, it's a utility service for information. It doesn't necessarily have to be true information, as I'm sure we've all had some experience with at this point. There are also apps that are designed to shortcut our decision making. This is important to remember as we're the users of artificial intelligence. These things are trying to get us to make decisions faster. Is that necessarily a good thing? That's up to us, the pilots in the pilot seat, not the co-pilot, to be able to ascertain. And the variable is always trust. The vendors have to make you trust the thing. The thing itself has to make you trust it. And you're constantly playing with this variable of trust. So, just keep that in mind as you're, again, using these technologies in your day-to-day life. And one final reminder, one of the internet applies. If you're not paying for it, you're the product. Just as you're, throwing up all your data into some of these services, just remember, that it's not free. AI means a lot of things. Not going to go up all the circles, but I like this image. Generative AI, the thing that's captured the definition of AI, really just sits at the center of a lot of this. There's lots of layers to artificial intelligence, and I'm sure many ML engineers in the audience today can, hang their heads in sorrow at how the definition has changed. And many of us have heard this quote before: "Data is the new oil." Mathematician Clive Humby in 2006. What I actually didn't know, and what I really like about the Kwaai community, is that this has a second part to it. The full quote is that it's valuable, but if unrefined, it cannot really be used. And so, this is a great exercise as we're all thinking about implementing AI systems, is, how do we make that information valuable? Oil has to be refined so we can, put in gasoline, put it in our cars. Just as data has to be refined so we can get quality answers out of it. Shout out to Michael Clark, who brought this to all of our attention. Michael Clark was a digital leader at MasterCard, helping with all of their sort of ideation around the shift in digital economies. And he was their speaker last week at the Kwaai public meeting where he brought this up. And finally, the 4 principles of human-centered design. I'll end here. People-centered. These are good things to keep in mind as we're building as we're building these technologies. Keep them people-centered. These things everything is a system as well. These things don't just impact the users. They don't just impact the vendors. They impact all of us in lots of different, direct and indirect ways. So, just good to keep, everyone's values in mind.